erase our borders, eliminate our police, indoctrinate our children, vilify our heroes, take away our energy. You know all about that. Take away our energy, if you can believe it. No fossil fuel. Destroy our Second Amendment, attack the right to life, and replace American freedom with left-wing fascism. Left wing, we're going left wing all the way. Fascists, they are fascists.
So what is fascism and how does it happen?
It's the enemy from within. All the scum that we have to deal with that hate our country, that's a bigger enemy than China and Russia.
So what is a fascist? Well, in a recent ABC Ipsos poll, half of America has a pretty good idea.
You've talked about a mass deportation program. How is that practically possible? Because a lot of the millions of people have had children here who are American citizens. And don't you think the first time there is an image on television of a family tearfully being told to board a bus, that whole program would end?
That's right. If you take a young woman with two beautiful children and you put her on a bus and it ends up on the front page of every newspaper, it makes it a lot harder.
44% of America believes Trump is a 100% fascist, which begs the question, what's the other half smoking?
What are you doing? You're trying to convince me that Donald Trump's rhetoric is the danger to this country?
He's a race-baiting, xenophobic, religious bigot. He doesn't represent my party. He doesn't represent the values that the men and women who wear the uniform are fighting for.
And how did this happen? Well, it's difficult to fathom the series of events that have us this perilously close to a dictatorship. I mean, just look at this guy. A failure in every way one can fail. In business, he has 6 bankruptcies, including the almost impossible task of tanking a casino, as well as stealing from a charity for childhood cancer and ripping off people at Trump University. A court ruled that he and his sons are never allowed to run a charity or a university again. Then, in marriage, 3 divorces, adultery with all of them, including Melania, where he had sex with a porn star while she breastfed their son. And his first wife accused him of rape, not to mention a $100 million judgment against him for rape and defamation. In politics, he never won a popular vote. 2 impeachments, 91 indictments, and 34 felony convictions. So, of course, in the same way Hitler was a shitty artist, Trump is horrible at everything but this one thing, grifting.
Need a Bible in their home, and I have many. It's my favorite book.
Shut the up, Donnie.
Trump is an excellent con man, and MAGA is the mark. But where most con men leave town after the con, Trump doubled down and stayed right here. And that should be his undoing. Instead, Tiny Fingers is on the verge of a fascist dictatorship in a nation that, despite all of our chest pounding, is apparently weaker than advertised. How do I know? Well, let Trump tell you.
We're like a garbage can. You know, it's the first time I've ever said that. And every time I come up and talk about what they've done to our country, I get angrier and angrier. First time I've ever said garbage can, but you know what? It's a very accurate description.
He wants revenge on anyone who criticizes him, and he doubles down on those in politics and media.
And sometimes revenge can be justified.
So what is fascism? Well, according to the Council on Foreign Relations, fascism is a far-right, authoritarian, and ultra-nationalist political ideology and movement. So let's break that down.
It's going to be only America first.
A fascist is characterized by a dictatorial leader.
To be clear, do you in any way have any plans whatsoever, if re-elected president, to abuse power, to break the law?
I want to be a dictator.
A centralized autocracy.
I am the chosen one.
Militarism.
I think the bigger problem are the people from within. We have some very bad people. We have some sick people, radical left lunatics. And I think they're and it should be very easily handled by, if necessary, by National Guard, or if really necessary, by the military.
Forcible suppression of opposition.
In the good old days, this doesn't happen because they used to treat them very, very rough. And when they protested once, you know, they would not do it again so easily.
And a belief in a natural social hierarchy.
I'm really rich.
I'm the most successful person ever to run.
Fortunately, I'm very rich. So I have a total net worth, and now with the increase, it'll be well over $10 billion. I'm not doing that to brag, because you know what? I don't have to brag. I don't have to, believe it or not.
Now, I'm no journalist, but I put all that together in half an hour. So why are the networks tiptoeing around the very easy-to-find evidence that Trump wants to take over and has no plans of ever leaving?
That there will never be a peaceful transition of power.
Now, it's Trump who initially called Harris a communist, a socialist, and a fascist. And of course, he has no idea what they mean, but he knows what he wants. And he's not shy about saying it loudly and for everyone to hear. But it's Harris who is under attack by the very pack of haircuts who are behind this national undoing.
The left is doubling down on its extreme anti-Trump rhetoric. Over the last several days, they have been vocally labeling former President Trump as a, quote, fascist. Here's Vice President Harris condoning the comparison.
And it is clear from John Kelly's words that Donald Trump is someone who, I quote, certainly falls into the general definition of fascist, who in fact vowed to be a dictator on day one and vowed to use the military as his personal militia to carry out his personal and political vendettas.
And the liberal media has been all in. You see it there. Check out this wave of recent headlines describing Trump as, quote, fascist, authoritarian, even Hitler-loving. Wow, and that's just a few of them. Hillary Clinton going as far as comparing Trump's Madison Square Garden rally to a Nazi rally that took place in the same location.
Now, I know you know what Fox News is. It's a gaggle of weak, frightened children who ignore Trump's outrageous comments. And while 2/3 of America see him for what he is, a self-flagellating skin tag, a malignant sociopath whose cognitive slide is accelerating, Republicans and Fox see him differently.
There has to be a point at which Dad comes home. He loves his children, but he's very disappointed in their behavior. And when Dad gets home, you know what he says? You've been a bad girl. You've been a bad little girl and you're getting a vigorous spanking.
Okay, that's pretty f***ed up. Saying Trump needs to beat young women?
You're getting a vigorous spanking.
So what's next? Well, if you listen to these three generals and his former Secretary of Defense, the shit is headed for a really big fan. Milley, Mattis, and Kelly all say the same. He is not only a psychopath, he's a revengeful prick who has absolutely no concern for the Constitution which holds this country together or the men and women who swore to protect it.
Saying Trump fits the definition of a fascist.
He's just putting out a 911 call to the American people. Understand what could happen if Donald Trump were back in the White House.
Kelly also claiming in an interview with the New York Times, Trump has been complimentary of Hitler.
Do you think Donald Trump is a fascist?
Yes, I do.
John Kelly is not only a four-star general and Trump's former chief of staff and head of Homeland Security, he's also a Gold Star father. But Trump and his Cracker Barrel Brigade now attack him because he wouldn't roll over. And Trump has attacked General Milley, his former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Milley was there on January 6th and feared for our nation's safety.
We don't take an oath to a tribe. We don't take an oath to a religion. We don't take an oath to a king or a queen or to a tyrant or a dictator. And we don't take an oath to a wannabe dictator.
So again, how did this happen? Well, you can't have a dictator without being able to control the narrative. And that's what Fox does with the likes of these little incels.
She's going to get paralyzed in the Situation Room while the generals have their way with her. And I heard the scientists say the other day that when a man votes for a woman, he actually transitions into a woman.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, that's what the science says.
Science says that.
Trump is not a conservative or a libertarian. He is the definitive sociopath, and in this case, one with 70 million followers who share his hatred of immigrants.
They're poisoning the blood of our country.
But here's the problem. Trump is turning his followers into a hating machine and stands ready to attack liberals, immigrants, women, minorities, and LGBT.
I love the poorly educated.
While half of America believes Trump is a fascist, the other half can't even spell it.
You're an idiot!
Damn right.
I'm ready. Let's go.
It's not fair.
Tick-tock, mother. This is not a normal election.
Yes!
That is crazy.
This isn't their Republican Party anymore.
They're eating the dogs.
Trust me.
Shut the f*** up, Dan.
Who's with me?
Oh, yeah, the lie.
Indictable.
Out of sheer morbid curiosity, I'm allowing this freak show to continue.
I don't want to talk about this stuff.
Am I wrong?
Yes!
Tick-tock,
You're in a lot of trouble, Donnie.
I think he's crazy.
I'm Chip Franklin.